All right, so we're back for another round of frequently asked questions, and Heather has the floor.
So, one of the things I want to touch on real quickly is fiberglass versus aluminum sided. They're both awesome. The aluminum sided is built with wood trusses, so that's just like your home is built from. The aluminum sided is a little bit heavier versus fiberglass siding, simply because from a material standpoint, wood is heavier than aluminum. It's easier to actually fix on aluminum sided. You just take the piece off instead of the whole sidewall. And so it's easier to fix, depending on kind of what your budget is and how much you want to spend. They're a little more pocketbook friendly, let's just say it that way. And then you have the fiberglass sided, right? So that's the sleek boat look. It's got the aluminum trusses and aesthetically pleasing to the eyes, I feel. Fiberglass just looks a little bit better. At least, what did you say, Phil? Assume in your mind that the heat or the air stays inside a well-insulated unit.
All right, another question that we get all the time is when someone comes in and they don't really know what they're looking for, and they're trying to figure out whether it makes more sense to them to look at something they tow versus something they drive. So there's a couple questions that we can ask to kind of help hammer that down so you could possibly have the conversation at home. First off, if you have a tow vehicle that can tow a decent sized camper or a fifth wheel, you're pretty far ahead of the game, and towable may make the most sense. But more importantly is going to be, how do you plan on using it? So let's just say I took a crystal ball and said, okay, you're going away for 2 months. During that 2 months, are you the kind of person that's going to want to go somewhere and stay? I'm going to stay here for a month, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to stay here for a month, or I'm going to stay at one place for 2 months. I'm going to land and just set up shop. Or if you go away for 2 months, do you want to go to 7 or 8 different places, different cities and stuff like that? So if you plan on just setting up shop and being somewhere for long term, more than 2 weeks at a time, then a towable unit makes the most sense for you, probably a fifth wheel. But if you're the kind of person that likes to get up and go, then a motorhome probably makes more sense because it's a lot less setup. You can use it going down the road. If you're halfway between locations, you can pull over at a rest stop, all these kind of things. So camping starts as soon as you pull out of the driveway in a motorhome. Camping starts about a half hour after you get to the campground if you're in a trailer of some sort. So those would be the biggest questions you need to ask yourself. And of course, as always, budget's going to be a big factor. So if you have to buy a $60,000, $80,000 fifth wheel and then go get an $80,000 truck, you're looking at $160,000 versus a $160,000 motorhome. The difference is that motorhome is going to be a 20-year loan versus that truck is going to be a 7-year loan. So that payment's going to hit different.
Way different.
So these are things that the conversation you have to have. Plus, now you have insurance on 2 things versus insurance on 1. So there's a lot of factors involved, but those are kind of the major questions you need to ask yourself, and that'll probably get you in the right direction.
Or ask us.
Yeah, more importantly, ask us what's up. But as always, let us know what we can do to help, and come find us.